Hello, everybody. This is the Smash Mouth and Smoke Show, and thank you guys for coming to check out this video. As I say every time, I appreciate those of you who come in and spend a little bit of your time watching the videos, and definitely appreciate your likes, and extra appreciate any subscribers. So, the NFL Combine for 2026 is now in the rear view. And obviously, there's questions abounding for everybody this time of year. Anybody who's paid attention to it, who's seen some of the amazing workouts in this year's group, knows that certainly at the wide receiver and at the defensive back position, man, the speed was on display. And, so a lot of those guys really helped themselves in this draft. I know the receiver group is quite deep. And so there's really a lot to talk about as it pertains to this combine. Obviously, I can't try to cover all that in this video. It would just simply be too long. So what we are going to talk about is I was particularly waiting for yesterday's group, which was the quarterbacks and the receivers. I really was interested in that group. Obviously, we kind of know what the top needs are for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is to not say they're not going to focus any time on defense. Certainly they can use some help at defensive back. As a matter of fact, at safety, and this is a pretty deep group of safeties in this draft, which doesn't happen all the time. So it wouldn't surprise me if they get one of those guys, but we're going to get into the offense for a few minutes tonight. Of course, and obviously that's the side of the ball where the Steelers seem to have the most need. They have an offensive-minded head coach. Obviously, they want to figure out a way to be able to score more points coming into next season, no matter who their quarterback ends up to be, Aaron Rodgers or no Aaron Rodgers. Basically, I'm just going to look at this through the lens of my opinion based on what I saw at the scouting combine, just watching TV, not there in person or anything, but just watching TV and seeing what people did, how they performed, and the measurables and everything like that they posted up and whatnot. So all of that said, how does the combine shape the Pittsburgh Steelers draft board so far? Good question. I believe that obviously the two biggest needs for Pittsburgh right now are at quarterback and wide receiver. I do not know, obviously, how they plan to fill it. We have a strong belief that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, right? As fantastic as that might be for some of us Steelers fans to hear. But in all likelihood, it would seem as if he's destined for one more spin of a season in Pittsburgh. And assuming that's the case in this particular situation, we're going to just kind of assume that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back for one more season and take another run at it with the Steelers. Let's assume that in this conversation. So now, how does that then stack up the Steelers draft boards? We're going to talk about really the first 2 days of the draft, right? The Steelers have a total of 12 draft picks, and they have a total of 5 picks over the first 2 days, the first 3 rounds of this draft. They'll have 5 picks. They have one first rounder, 1 second rounder, and they have 3 third round picks. And so, that's quite a bit of ammo. The Steelers can certainly exercise some flexibility to move around the board if they like, to try to target basically any players that they happen to think are fit for what they're trying to do this upcoming season. So what would I do, right? I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but after watching the workouts, I feel more convinced than I was when I brought this up in the last video. I feel even more convinced that the Steelers need to make sure they try to get Ty Simpson. And I can tell you going into this, I wasn't that strongly convicted of this guy, but watching the workouts, Ty Simpson impressed me. And I mean, it's not as if he doesn't have impressive tape. Ty Simpson's college season last year was a little uneven. It was up and down. He had a stretch, I believe, early in the season where he was just looking fantastic. And then as the season waned, Alabama, obviously seemed to have problems. And some of that, is on Ty. Um, However, um, I mean, of course, the biggest knock on Ty, a lot of people felt he should probably return to school for another year. So the biggest knock on Ty is obviously that he's only been a 1 year starter on college level. And, very, very few uh, quarterbacks in history have been 1 year starters on a college level and turned into even regular Pro Bowl level pros. You know what I mean? There's been a handful. As a matter of fact, I think there was, that's like what, four. I believe we covered this in the last video. That may have had any kind of significance to their careers after just being 1 year starters in the league. So that said, though, watching his drills, couple things really stood out about Ty Simpson. His footwork is really good. He doesn't have the happy feet. He knows how to throw off his plant foot. He doesn't throw off his back foot, and which causes wild throws and accurate passes and things of that nature. And as a I guess a product of that excellent footwork by Ty Simpson, his passing game is very accurate. I mean, he throws a really nice deep ball. He was hitting some really accurate, mid-range passes. Now, obviously, this is a drill, and this isn't with a bunch of guys on the defensive line or on the opposing defense coming at you full speed trying to kill you or anything like that. But, you got to start somewhere. And, not every quarterback performed that great in these drills. There were a handful that did. Nussmeier looked pretty good. But Ty Simpson overall impressed me with the passing drill. I believe that's about the only thing he participated in was the passing portion. But he impressed me in the passing portion. Throwing accurate balls, exhibiting really good footwork. His ball placement was outstanding. And so, and he doesn't have the strongest arm. He doesn't have the weakest arm either. He can get the job done. He can make all of the NFL throws. And so when I sit here and look at this, I believe, and I can't believe I'm saying it, the Steelers need to make it their mission to acquire Ty Simpson. Now, the question is, how do they go about it? Do they draft him at 21? Well, do you love him? Right? I mean, he's not going to be there on their second round pick. So they're going to have to get him before that pick. And so it's just a matter of how, right? The Steelers are either going to have to draft him with that pick, or maybe they'll try to get wild. Again, they have a lot of picks in this draft. They have some flexibility to move around. Maybe they can pull something similar to what the Giants did last year. Maybe they can, with that 21st pick, they can take one of the better receivers like Makai Lemon or Boston, one of those guys. Assuming one of those guys are available around that pick, they can take one of those nice top receivers so they can pair somebody on that offense with DK Metcalf. And after they do that, perhaps they can somehow find a way to package picks to jump back into the first round. Their targets would have to be to get ahead of the Rams probably, and certainly the Jets' second round pick. I would imagine that between the Rams and the Jets, those two teams are likely to be targeting Ty Simpson as well. And so if the Steelers want to play Russian roulette a little bit and grab one of those top receivers with that 21st pick, and then sure as hell be working to make sure they get back ahead of those two teams, to then maybe pull the trigger on Ty Simpson, which is somewhat reminiscent of what the Giants did last year in their pursuit of Jackson Dart. Uh, perhaps they do something like that. If it turned out fine, obviously you'd be okay with it. But of course, that's tricky because, if you don't do that, somebody could beat you to the punch, right? Um, I guess at the end of the day, if you feel like that's your guy, just take him at 21 and let the doubters doubt or whatever they want to do. The quarterback position is too important to play games with. And so at the end of the day, if you think that's your guy, just take him and let's find out, because at the end of the day, you have to find your franchise quarterback. And one of the things that I think I like about taking him at 21, particularly assuming, and remember, we're assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to come back now. So particularly assuming that Aaron Rodgers returns, well, now there's no pressure on Ty Simpson to be the savior of the franchise, right? He can just take it all in. He's drafted. He's the first round pick. He's the 21st overall pick. He has the old man in front of him. He can sit there and learn. And one of the good things about where Aaron Rodgers is mentally right now, more than any other time in his career, he seems very accepting of the mentor role, if you will. And, he can learn a lot from watching how Aaron prepares for games and watching Aaron play games and get a wealth of on-the-job training from Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, you can have a worse teacher than that. And so thinking about it that way, I just think that actually taking Ty Simpson in the first round might be a smart move for Pittsburgh to try to do. The receiving group is so deep that I believe there will be very strong number two slash number one potential receivers probably through the first three rounds. Probably through the first three rounds. It's a very fast group, a very talented group, a very deep group, and the quarterback position is more important, and it's not as talented, and it is not as deep. And after Ty Simpson, the drop off is precipitous, in my opinion. With the caveat being that perhaps Nussmeier can regain his form. It came out over the weekend that he had been playing with an abdominal injury of some sort that had been hampering his ability to play like his previous self, the years prior to this past season. And so perhaps that nagging injury was affecting him more than people knew. It's certainly an interesting thing because obviously the college season before last, Nussmeier was like arguably, he was in the conversation of number one overall pick had he come out that year in the draft. So certainly the skill set is there. But man, what a tough season he had last year. And now that he came out and acknowledged the injury he was playing through, perhaps that means something where, scouts will reevaluate him in his potential. At best, though, I think he earns himself the number 3 spot as far as the third quarterback to come off the board. And then, of course, probably like Drew Aller. That said, though, I believe that the Steelers should really try to work to get Ty Simpson drafted in Pittsburgh. That's just how I feel about it. And then, build out the rest of the receiving core. You got 3 third-round picks and a second-round pick. So you could, listen, I wouldn't be mad if they took quarterback, receiver. That's how bad they need those positions. And then once you got those things in place, they can look at the safety group. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted a safety for the back end of the defense. And again, that's another deep group. And I'm sure with one of those third round picks, there will be someone there that they can get that can help this team. But aside from a couple of defensive picks, like a safety and a corner, perhaps, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they took another D-line. I would expect the majority of these picks to be on offense and skilled positions like receiver and quarterback, and maybe they'll add an offensive lineman in there for good measure. And it's going to be interesting even to see what happens with the running back group because it doesn't appear like they're going to sign Kenneth Gainwell. And so it'll be interesting to see if they how they pursue any of these things in free agency. Obviously, that's going to go a long way to shaping how they attack the draft. So we'll see how that unfolds over the next really few weeks here. The free agency is just a couple weeks away from kicking off. And so I know everyone should be excited about that. Anyway, that's just my impression of how I think that this combine should shape the Steelers draft. I think that Ty Simpson has solidified himself as a late first round, early second round pick. And I think the Steelers shouldn't overthink it. Take the quarterback. Hope that you got the quarterback head coach right, assuming you got Aaron Rodgers coming there, you got a great mentor, and build the quarterback right. Bring that guy in here, give him his year, and let's see what happens. I mean, that's just what I'm hoping. I'd like to know what some of you other guys think about that. In particular, anyone that's a fan of the team. But even if you're not a fan of the team, but you're a football fan, just let me know what you think about that, right? I just think that that's the way to go. At any rate, that's it. That's just where my mind is with this. We will have some more conversations about this combine. Next weekend, I will actually be in Deep Creek Lake, just taking some time off with some friends, and hopefully I'll be able to record a video there with a couple of friends of mine who will be occasional co-hosts of the show. One is a Washington Commanders fan named Jesse Morgan. The other is a Dallas Cowboy fan named James Fauntleroy. We affectionately call him Jamie. And, hopefully those guys will get together. We'll be having some bourbons, and we'll have some cigars, and we'll be sitting back and talking football, and we'll shoot a nice video of that. And everyone will talk about how they see the offseason through the lens of the teams that they root for. Jesse being a Commanders fan and Jamie being a Cowboy fan. So hopefully that'll be something that I can get up here by this time or so next week. And we'll see how that goes, right? All right, folks. In the meantime, shoot me any comments or questions you like. Anybody you'd like to talk about in particular at the combine or any topics, let's do that. I just wanted this to be a video right now about how I feel like the overall program shaped the early part of the Steelers attack in the draft. That's it. We are almost at the 18-minute mark, so I'm going to stop. And thank you guys for checking in, and catch up with you soon. All right. Thanks a lot.